I've talked about the weather's impact on climbing Mount Everest before, most recently just last year on the 60th anniversary of the first successful ascent. I want to revisit the topic today because of what happened last Friday on the mountain. Since Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay first reached the top of the world in May 1953, Everest has been climbed about 6,800 times by more than 4,000 people. The multiple summits are mostly by Sherpas, local guides skilled in high-altitude mountaineering. Climbing Everest has become such a commercial venture that almost 3/4 of the summits have been in just the last 10 years, and last year alone, 658 people reached the peak. For comparison, it took 40 years after Hillary and Norgay did it for that many people to summit. Prior to this year, 248 climbers, including 87 Sherpas, died on Everest. Now, by far, the most summits take place in May. More than 92%. October and June are a distant second and third. In the last decade, as more commercial climbing companies offer guided expeditions to the top, May is even more dominant, with over 95% of all summits. Mount Everest straddles the border between Nepal and Tibet on the southern flank of the massive Tibetan Plateau. Weather dictates the climbing season. In May, the jet stream typically lifts far enough north that winds become tolerable at the summit, while the influx of moisture associated with the summer monsoon usually doesn't reach the Himalayas until June. Here's a breakdown of successful May summits by day. Most have been in the 2-week period from the 13th to the 26th, so that's the best window of opportunity. There are just 2 routes to the top of Everest. About 2/3 of the summits come from the south, the Nepal side. The base camp for that route is at 17,500 feet. And to get to the top, 4 other higher altitude camps are set up ahead of time by advanced crews of Sherpas who fix the ropes and ladders for the climb and carry food and supplies. The first stage of the climb, from base camp to advanced camp 1, crosses what's called the Khumbu Icefall, a dangerous stretch of a local glacier that actually moves several feet per day, often causing large chunks of ice, known as seracs, to break loose and tumble down the glacier. That's what happened last Friday, killing 16 Sherpas in an avalanche of ice and snow, the deadliest day in the history of climbing Everest. Distance-wise, the journey from base camp to Camp 4 is only 6 miles, but because of the difficulty of the climb, the harsh environment, and the time needed to acclimate to the thin air, it takes weeks to get in position for a final assault on the summit. The last stage of the climb from Camp 4 to the peak is only a mile long, but rises 2,700 feet. For veteran mountaineer Alan Arnett, who reached the summit in May 2011 and shared this video with us, that last stage took about 8 hours. He says the actual summit of Everest is not big, maybe 30 square feet. Enough climbers carry thermometers that we know that summit temperatures average about 15 degrees below zero in May. Back in 1988, 2 Penn State meteorologists provided weather forecasts for a group of climbers from Wyoming who were attempting to summit Everest. Fred Godomsky, who with Paul Knight made up that forecasting tandem, is up next with the extended forecast.